Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Psn Sports Network. Along with Artie and Nikita, I'm Brock Bennett, once again your host. And guys, last night was the national championship game in college football, as Ohio State beats Oregon pretty handily, 42-20. And Artie, just talking a little bit about the dominant performance by the Buckeyes over the Ducks.
Well, just first and foremost, we kind of missed the boat on that pick, but hats off to the Buckeyes. They were, the more physical team, and Ezekiel Elliott was able to have a great night, somewhere in the range of 240 or thereabouts. Another career high for him. That's 3 straight, I believe, that he's broke his career high. So just hats off to them, and also Cardale Jones didn't play a phenomenal game, but he did enough to help the Buckeyes get by them.
And Nikita, just, talking a little bit about Oregon and Marcus Mariota. He has a pretty good game, Mariota does, passing for 333 yards. He had 2 touchdowns and an interception, but just couldn't seem to get the job done last night.
Well, the Ducks' biggest problem was defensively. As you can tell, they couldn't get off the field long enough for the offense to do anything, so therefore that's why Mariota had such a rocky night trying to score. Ducks, against a physical offense, has always struggled against Auburn in 2010. They just couldn't handle Cam and Michael Dyer, so Ezekiel Elliott, Cardale Jones, like Artie said, just had usual nights, and Ezekiel Elliott also set the national championship record with that yardage, so it was a big night for all the Buckeye faithful.
And Artie, staying on Mariota right here, is he done at Oregon, and is he leaping, do you think, to the draft coming up in April?
It's really hard to say right now. I think it bodes well for the Duck fans, the fact that he's not just absolutely 100% sure at this point he wants to go. It shows that maybe he has that sense of wanting to go back and try and give the Ducks something they've never had, which is a national championship.
And also, Cardale Jones, he goes for 242, a touchdown and a pick. If Braxton Miller decides to transfer to another, Division I college, is Cardale Jones the candidate for the starting job in fall camp and next season?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You can look at it in 2 different ways. If you're Urban Meyer, you're either the most luckiest man in the world, or you got one of the hardest decisions you're ever going to have coming your way. J.T. Barrett's a phenomenal quarterback, and Cardale Jones is just a sight to be seen. Not knowing that he hadn't had as much experience as he has, he just has that natural talent that you just can't teach.
And Nikita, on Ohio State, they were sort of a surprise 4th team to get in the 4-team playoffs. Bama, was favored to beat them. Ohio State, pulled off the upset. They go to Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, become the national champions last night. Are they a contender next year to get back in the playoffs?
Well, it looks like they're going to be a contender for at least a couple more years due to the talent level that they have there. Is Elliott at running back, and the 2 quarterbacks, like Artie said, battling for position. So I think they'll be in the mix for the next couple of seasons. And whatever Urban does recruiting, which he's always been a real good recruiter, even when he was at Florida. So hats off to him, and I think he'll have them back where they need to be in the national championship race again next year. And talking about Cardale Jones, you're talking about a kid that has not played 1 snap all season long, and then he plays in the Big Ten Championship. They rout the Badgers very badly, and then he comes in and takes over the Sugar Bowl and does what he does and runs over people. You're talking about a kid that's 6'2", 6'3". Well, no, he's 6'4", and he's about 250. So if you want to step out in front of a Mack truck, this is the quarterback for you.
And Artie, what about Oregon? If Mariota stays, are they a contender? And even if he decides to go to the NFL, are they still a contender for next year?
Well, if he stays, you definitely got to pencil him in to probably another Final Four appearance. But, if he goes, I wouldn't totally count him out. I figure, most publications will count him out if he leaves. But just it's with Oregon, it's more than the coach and it's more than the players. It's the system, it's the attitude, it's the commitment to what they want to do, and they know who they are, and they don't try and be anything other than what they are. And it seems to work for them because they come up with that same formula every year, and it seems to repeat every single season for them.
Well, what does Oregon have to do to get better and to win their first national title?
Well, I mean, they took some steps in the right direction by getting these more physical runners. I mean, I thought they did a good job running the football last night. Just overall, though, I think myself personally, just the personal touch of what they need to bring in. They need bigger linemen. They have trouble in the trenches when they play against these more physical, bigger offensive lines. And also defensive or on against a defensive line like the physical Buckeyes were. They just they couldn't block them. I mean, they got all the speed in the world, and they're able to out agile them or whatever. But they're just they just can't hold up to that beating that you take on a night in night out basis.
Well, let's back up just a little bit and go back to the previous games that both of these teams had to win to get them to the national title game. Could we possibly see maybe next year a rematch or flip the teams to have the same four teams again in the playoffs next year?
To see all four make it back, personally, I don't think so. I would think the Buckeyes probably would be back. I would think probably Alabama would be back. Maybe Oregon, I don't know. It just depends upon, once again, if Mariota comes back or not. If he doesn't, maybe you take them out of that picture. In Florida State, they've lost. They're going to lose a lot this time, and it's going to be very difficult for them to come back, I do believe.
Nikita, what are your thoughts on this situation? Can all four teams make it back to the playoffs, maybe have a rematch like it was this year, or like I said, flip them and have, opposite teams play opposite, opponents?
Well, I think Ohio State will be back. I think Oregon will be back, whether Mariota is there or not, because in this system, it's a plug-and-play system. You don't have to be the all-star. All you need to do is understand the system and work with it, and that's what they do. And as far as Alabama, they could get back here if they really wanted to, but I don't see Florida State coming back. They've made, 2 trips to the which they made to the national title game last year, but this year was the new playoff system. But I don't think they'll be back. They lose their quarterback. Winston's going to the NFL. They're losing a lot more key players, and I think they'll be probably a couple years removed, and this opens the door for those TCUs, those Baylor teams that think they got snubbed this year. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see and hope for the best and see what all these teams have to offer in a year.
Well, looking ahead, after last night, college football season is over with until the end of August of this coming year. But right now, we're still in the NFL playoffs with the AFC and NFC championship games coming this Sunday. And for the AFC matchup, you have the Colts traveling to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, as the Colts beat Peyton Manning and the Broncos up in Mile High in Colorado 24-13 on Sunday, and the Patriots beat the Ravens this past Saturday 35-31 to move into the AFC Conference Championship game this coming week. And Nikita, looking at this matchup, it's number 12 versus number 12, Brady versus Luck. Does Luck have luck, or does Brady, beat the Colts, beat Luck, and get back to a Super Bowl?
Well, in this game, you got the tale of 2 old teams, but some new faces. You got Andrew Luck instead of Peyton Manning, but you still got Mr. Brady lined up and under center for the Patriots. And, it's in Foxborough, Gillette, and it's going to be tough to go in and beat them. It's going to be cold. It's going to be, it favors the Patriots because